All right, we're going to go ahead and get started.
We are. Awesome. It is so awesome to be here with all you guys. I can't believe how many people are here today. I have to tell you, this is killer. It's my first time in Texas, I have to tell you. So I liked the hotel in the rain. It was awesome being here, seeing all that stuff. But my first time here, it's actually a great place. I like it. I'm excited to be here. So my name is John Moretti. I am a principal solutions architect here with eSentire. I've been here about 6 years. Before that, I was like in your seat, we were just chatting about. I was at Partners and I was managing customers. I started back in Novell. So long time ago, Novell, Microsoft, doing all the infrastructure stuff, always doing security though. Always trying to secure stuff and manage that stuff, manage Darktrace, manage Exchange and all those great products out there. When I came to eSentire, I remember I was working with, and I was never a salesperson. I've always been technical. So I helped sell Darktrace, Splunk, and Cylance to a customer. And you know what the customer said to me after everything was done, after weeks of setup? He said, all you did was give me work, because now I got to manage all this stuff. And what I found in my career is that I was just managing that product or that tool and becoming an expert at that tool. I was never really fixing the problem or stopping that hole or whatever it may be. So at eSentire, I've learned what we do. And it's a relief to tell customers, we're going to take that burden off your shoulders. We're going to help you manage that together as a team. So that's what we do here at eSentire. Somebody asked me, can you tell me, I was in an elevator. Somebody tell me in 3 words what you guys do. And I said, defend our clients. We're threat hunters. That's it. It's what we do day in and day out. And the guy was actually taken back. He says, oh, I didn't think you can answer that fast. I said, well, we're not selling you stuff. We're a service. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to talk about some of the AI and stuff that we're using and how it's a big term now and everybody's talking about that stuff. So let's dive into it. And my clicker's not working again. That's okay. Oh, okay, cool. All right. All right, so I don't have to read all this stuff to you. You guys know a lot of these terms, right? AI and generative AI and what threat actors are using now against it. So we're going to talk about how we're using AI. We're using it every day for our customers and what we're doing there with AI. Some of the generative AI, I know those tools that we're using. LLMs, right? Everybody familiar with LLMs? Right? Everybody kind of knows what that stuff is, yeah? Like ChatGPT, open tools like that, right? Fun, right? All public though, so don't put your stuff in there a lot because there was a big TV company that put their stuff in there and said, hey, build me some new code. And what you know it was out on the internet and threat actors were using it against you. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, but let me show you what some of these threat actors are doing with some of this stuff today. So we are seeing tons of stuff at eSentire every single day with these threat actors, what they're doing, some of the stuff that they're using with AI, right? They're using it. We see a lot of stuff now with ransomware, with some of these ransomware tools, some of these phishing campaigns that they're using AI, using generative AI with the voice, right, and the pictures, all that stuff. It's getting crazy out there. So how do you combat it all? You can go to the next one, my friend. All the different things that we're seeing, these threats, threat actors have to be right one time, right? So think about this. They can try 1 billion different times until they get it right. We have to be right one time, right? We can't be wrong. We have to make sure we defend our clients and protect them using those same AI tools. And it's getting harder because a lot of the times they don't look like threats as they come into your environment. They look real. They don't look bad. It's getting harder and harder to find them. So you need to make sure you have someone looking at that stuff all the time. You have to make sure the tools work for you. The tool is just a tool, right? So, awesome. So ransomware, I talk about this. This is actually a crazy statistic if you think about it. Everybody thinks that ransomware is only for like large organizations, giant enterprises, right? Not the case. We are seeing small businesses, small to medium-sized businesses, 1 million to maybe 25 million under attack every single day. Every single day from ransomware, right? Now, I don't know how to own a business. I wouldn't want to be a business owner, but if I did, I would want to do everything in my power to make sure that I protect my brand, my livelihood, and my customers, right? Because ransomware is big. All somebody's got to do is click on it and they got control. We actually brought a customer on. They were looking at a few different MDR providers. And I always say, listen, check everybody out. Check every one of our competitors. I want you to check them out and ask them how you do things, why you do things, and show me. If they can't do those things, then they're not the right, thing for you. Absolutely not. They have to show you those things. They can't be afraid to show you, right? So we had this customer checking out a bunch of different things, and they call us on a Friday, 2:00. And they said, look, I think we have a problem. I think we might have been breached. Can you help us like now? So right away, we get some of our team members involved. We find out that these guys have been breached for 5 years. They had no clue. They had great technology. They were using the latest firewalls. They were patching stuff. They were breached. We found all of their users, passwords, some of their data, personal informational data on the dark web. They had no clue they were breached. How do you know, right? They don't, their teams are doing everything they can. I'm sure, talking to you, you're doing tons of stuff every single day to make sure that you don't have a problem. It's hard. It's hard to manage this stuff today. It's not easy because there's many different ways the threat actor can get into your environment without knowing. Vulnerability is just one. If there's nobody in here doing vulnerability management or scans every day, that's a problem. I would be doing that stuff every single day. You have to scan. There's new vulnerabilities we find every day. Got to scan, close those holes, right? We see more and more, vulnerabilities and threat actors getting in from those vulnerabilities, right? Misconfigurations in the cloud is another big one. Threat actors look for that stuff. So we're finding threat actors now are actually packaging the ransomware, right? So if you think about a way a threat actor gets in an environment, they get in the environment, they infiltrate you, right? And then they learn everything about what you're doing. And they escalate their privileges. And then they hide in there and they'll wait. So now we're finding these threat actors are packaging, right, this ransomware, and they're going on the dark web like eBay. And they're selling it, and they're having these bids. We actually got on one, and we saw one starting at $5,000. And if you want to buy it right out, $10,000, you can buy it right now. And now these are threat actors that don't have experience. Now I bypass all those different stages. I can just get right into an environment. We've seen that all the time. It's easier for threat actors to now sell their stuff, and they're making tons of money on it, right? So ransomware is big. We're seeing a lot of that stuff. Now, a little bit about us. We've been in business about over 20-something years. We started back in 2001. And our founder worked in the financial district in New York. He was a consultant. He had his own little sensor that he built with his technology on it, and he was doing his thing. They came back to him, the financial district folks, and some of those big, large banks said, hey, you know what? We want to keep this stuff. Can we have it? And he's like, no, this is my tools. So that's when he went back to Waterloo, Canada, and said, I'm going to open up my own company and build eSentire. So that's where we started from there. He's still very involved in the organization today, still doing lots of stuff. We have tons of different customers, tons of different awards, but the one thing I want to focus on here for you guys is our 15-minute mean time to contain. What does that mean? If you have a problem, our average is 15 minutes to stop your business from having a disruption, right? Doesn't mean you're not going to ever get breached if you put our stuff in there. You're not going to have somebody click on something or ransomware. We want to contain it and bring it small and isolate it for you so you don't have that problem. Our actual average is about 12, but we put 15 on. That's our SOC analysts, those 160 of them working 24/7, 365 for all of our customers between our global SOCs, reacting to those alerts that we're managing for you. So let me show you what that looks like. So before I do that, our goal really is to help our customers become cyber resilient, right? And what that means is helping you guys to anticipate when something's going to happen, withstand that cyber attack, right? And then recover as quickly as possible. And I put entity in here. And if you think about it, it used to be just endpoint, right? You don't want your endpoint to be compromised, but an entity now, it's everything. Your data, it's your ID, it's everything in the cloud, it's an endpoint, it's everything who you are, right? Your organization. And our goal is to use what we've got and what you have and manage it for you and make sure that you never have that business disruption if we can. That's our goal, is helping you become cyber resilient. And the other difference is helping you evolve. So you don't have that breach, right? Helping you evolve as the threat landscape changes every single day. We want to make sure that you scale and grow and change every day with that. right? So we want to make sure that happens. And listen, if you guys have questions as we're going through this, please stop. Stop me. I want to answer questions for you. I want to make this very interactive. I do not want this to be boring, because I've sat in here before and some of these different things and you're like dying. And I'm so glad we're not before lunch and at the end of the day, because I would be dying at the end of the day. I wouldn't be in here. Me, I would have been gone. You got a question? Shoot. Auto remediation. We do remediate. Yes, we do. So we will take action on your behalf depending on what you want us to do for you, right? So for example, say if we isolate a host for you, do you want us to go in there and remove a registry setting or fix a browser plugin? We can do it. You might say, hey, look, just isolate that for me and I'll reimage it or I'll take action. So yes, we can do the remediation for you. Absolutely, 100%. Right? So that's our goal, helping you become cyber resilient. So I'm sure you've heard this a billion times. Oh, I've got a platform. And yes, we have MDR. I'm going to tell you folks, MDR is a checkbox today. It's a checkbox, right? Show me how you do it for me. So we have a platform that we've built. We spent over $45 million in this platform. It's an AI machine learning platform that we ingest raw security data signals from all of our customers. Sorry, I'm in your way. I was dancing for you there a little bit like that. For all of our customers, right? We want to take all those signals, ingest them all, right? Network, endpoint, log. It's like your house, all your windows and doors. You want to make sure you have somebody looking at all that stuff. Because the minute you don't, believe me when I tell you, they're going to come into your house. Right? So we want to take those raw security signals, and this is going to provide our customers with 3 outcomes: security investigations, threat hunting, and threat response. And that's the difference, is you want somebody to respond on your behalf. Like you were saying, you want to be fishing out there on a Saturday and have to stop what you're doing and take action. You'd rather get an email and say, hey, guess what? I took care of this for you. No rush, it's isolated. Here's your next steps, and let's work together. Right? That's a peace of mind. Right? So this platform allows us to ingest all those different security signals from all these different open integrations. We support all these different folks. We have our own IP as well. We support CrowdStrike, right? We manage their platform for them. So we actually brought a customer on almost a year ago. It was a couple guys, maybe about 4 or 5, just like you guys. And they had 30,000 CrowdStrike endpoints to deploy and get it running. Do you know how hard it is to manage that and how difficult it is? Do you know how many different pieces of management? And I love CrowdStrike. I used to manage it. There's tons of different places to do something. And that everybody in your organization needs different requirements, right? You got HR, you got admin, you got the IT team. They don't care, right? You guys can do whatever you want to my endpoint, right? But those other folks, you got to be careful. So there's a lot of different things that can happen, right? So there's a lot of management. CrowdStrike, Microsoft, Sumo Logic, we support all these guys. We want to make sure that whatever you're running, if you're running some of these in your environment already, how you manage it, we can help you with that, right? All that stuff comes into our platform using that AI, using that machine learning. We learn what's going on. Every investigation that we do, right? We learn from, we put all that information back into our platform. So we only have to do it one time if we don't. And I got to tell you, a lot of the stuff is automated with our platform, but we have human interaction with everything that we ingest, everything. So that way, when the threat actor changes something in some kind of code, and yes, we blocked this before, but it's a little bit different. There's a variant here. There's somebody in there taking a look at it and say, hey, let's reverse engineer it. This is what they changed. So we can block it again. It's a never ending cycle. 24/7, 365, we're doing that. These are the teams that make all this stuff work. I have the fun job of telling their story. These guys run the show. So we have our SOC analysts, 160 of these folks, right? Cool stuff. We sit in our SOC. They don't sit at a board all day. They rotate so they don't burn out. How hard is it to keep some of these folks, right? When you hire some of these guys, we were talking to somebody not too long ago. They were like, I can't keep anybody here 18 months, right? Because they want them 24/7. It's hard. It's hard to do 24/7. It's not easy. I don't think I would do it. I sat in the SOC with these folks, and let me tell you something. They can look at a board and see something happening. I didn't know what they were talking about, right? And I thought I was smart. I thought I knew a lot of stuff. I'm like, I know how to do this. I could do it. I couldn't be a SOC analyst. That's for sure. And then we have what we call our threat response unit team. These folks are the folks that take care of the AI. They take care of the relative AI, the generative AI across the board. These are the folks that build new machine learning models for everything that we do. So every investigation we do, these are the folks that put that stuff into play. Now, these are the folks that also watch threat actors, threat groups, discussion boards, social media. They watch what's going on. Like a lot of stuff's going on in the world today. Threat actors are using that against us every day. They're hopping on that bandwagon. I get texts all the time or emails all the time to support this or, send money here. They're watching that stuff, right? So a few years ago, we had a software company that we had a customer that they have this software. So one of our true team members, they were going through social media and they saw something on Reddit and it said, hey, we might have a problem with our software. Now, this was just something on Reddit they posted. Now, we don't know if it's real or not. Okay, so we want to get ready for it just in case. So the true team member reached out to some of these SOC folks and our other team members said, hey, who in our organization, who in our customer base has this software? Do we know? We had, 5 or 6 customers that use this software. So we want to get ready for it in case this is a problem. 24 minutes after we saw that post on Reddit, they sent out an advisory. Hey, guess what? We have a problem. So now, 3 minutes. We contained the threat for our customers. We blocked it so they don't have it. 3 minutes after we saw that. Nothing's fixed. Don't get me wrong. We're not doing anything, but we stopped it from getting into their environment because we knew what was going to happen. Then we worked and watched what the software vendors doing. We worked close with those guys. Say, look, we know what's going on. We did this with Citrix as well. Same thing. We know what's going on. Let us help you with it, right? So these folks would test patches. We would test them with them. It took them 7 days to come out with a fix. So the customers that weren't our customers, I don't know what happened to them. But we would put controls into place, put blocks into place. We kept blocking it on and on as we learned what was going on. Same thing with Log4j and those 0-day things that happen. You have to have someone that's managing that. Using a platform like that, you have to have that AI. You have to have those machine learning models to learn what's going on, right? And it grows and it learns and it knows what is expected next and how to anticipate what might happen. That's what our platform is doing. And these are the teams that make this stuff work. And we also have client success managers. Now I have to talk about them because my wife is one, and they are great. They deal with all of our customers, making sure that every one of our customers has one of those. Point of contact, building reports. They're your point of contact, full communication all the time. And I have to tell you, and they hate when I say this, but you can call the SOC every day. There's no additional charge. There's no cost for that. We have people that call the SOC every single day. They know them by name. You can do it, right? We're part of your team. So what are we doing with some of the new AI stuff that we're doing this year? So we have a couple things, right? We have our AI investigator, which I'm going to show you what that looks like. That's kind of like our version of ChatGPT for our AI platform. Doesn't go out to the internet. It's not using ChatGPT. It's our own. That's the way I can describe what it looks like. It's our own version of ChatGPT. Then we have LLM Gateway, right? It's our prototype. That's free. You guys can download that today. What's that going to do for you? That's going to say, hey, who's running ChatGPT or some of those open integrations in my organization? Put some of my corporate data up there, right? Anybody using that? Anybody use ChatGPT every day? I use it. We have our own version of ChatGPT that we use, but it's cool. There's some cool stuff for the Copilot now. Microsoft's incorporating Copilot into their next operating system. We're already checking out Windows, I think it's 12 now. They're having Copilot built in. So when you're doing stuff, it's all integrated into it's 12 out yet? Is it? Oh no, but it's coming. We've been testing that stuff. Yes, I like it. I think it's cool, but it's dangerous. Yeah, right. Not for everyone. You don't want. You know how many times some people go in there and say, "Hey, I need this beautiful email that I'm going to type up here." And you put some corporate information in there. You put some usernames in there. Some people, threat actors are using it. It's all open. It's all on the internet, right? So you want to watch for that. At least monitor that. So we came up with a prototype that will log that stuff for you. It's free. Download it today in GitHub. We're going to take it to the next level. We want to do MDR for LLMs. We can help manage that for you. If your folks are using that stuff, you want to get notified of it. And eventually, let's block that so they can't do that. And if you're going to pay for your own version of ChatGPT, it's still public, but it's a little bit more secure, if you want to call it that. Same thing with Microsoft too, right? They put prices on it. You can put your money on there and somewhat secure, right? But you want to know if people are doing it. You have to today. It's only going to get bigger, right? Threat actors are using that stuff against us. So what does their AI investigator look like, right? Kind of like I mentioned, like ChatGPT, right? You can actually sit there, communicate with our AI platform as a customer, say, hey, what is my, you can ask it anything really, but how many threats have I seen, or how many workstations might have been compromised? How many threats have I seen in the last 30 or 60 days, whatever. You can do searches and build out. This is all internal, stays in our platform. Or it's enhancing all the time as we're enhancing our AI. Doesn't go out to the internet, doesn't use anything else but ChatGPT, it's our own version. We have this available for customers today. It's a big customer ask. So that's what the AI investigator looks like. It lives in this insight portal, right? Every customer has access to this day one. They can come in, they can log in and see exactly what our SOC analysts are doing for them with all transparency. You can actually communicate with them, you can text them, you can message them. It's full. Every service that you have with us, awesome. Have access to it here. Run your own reports, everything. Plus your customer success manager does those custom reports for you as well. But full communication, this is where that AI investigator lives. Day one customers, even if you have one service. So I get a lot of questions, Steve and I get a lot of questions all the time. My co-worker back there, Steven's back there rocking and rolling. I don't need everything, right? Do I have to buy all your stuff for you to manage my stuff? No, right? What we want to do, honestly, is understand what your exposure management is, right? What controls you already have in place, where we can fit in and help you. We're not going to tell you to rip and replace anything. We want to complement what you've already got, right? So let's manage it for you, and we'll help you out. So if a customer says, I just need you to take care of my endpoint for me, you still get this portal, you still get our platform, you still get our true team, you still get all the SOC analysts, you still get a customer success manager, everybody. Nothing is stripped out because you're only getting one thing from us, even if you have 100 endpoints. All right, whatever. As long as we can help you out, it helps us to be better, right? That's what we want to do. I asked one of the SOC analysts, why do you do what you do? Trying to make the world a better place. And it sounded silly at the time, but it's true, right? I want to try and stop threat actors from what they're doing. We love what we do. So this portal is available for everyone. Are there any questions before I dive into? I want to show you what the SOC looks like. I was talking to my buddy Steven back there. I said, you know what? I want to show these folks how we do it.
Who trained the AI? Train the AI.
Who train the AI? Our teams, those teams I showed you. They train the AI every single day. So when we had our first platform, so I'm going to go back a little bit, we acquired a company, I was just telling you before, we acquired a company called Versal years ago. And they were a company like Darktrace. It's a great AI platform, right? Well, this AI technology. So we took that technology, put it into our platform. And we built this new cloud native platform that we can ingest all this raw data. We're actually partnered now with, and I can tell everybody, with Snowflake, right? So that data, we can take a lot of good stuff with that data and hide it and make sure that the customer's data is protected all the time, no matter where they are. Because we get questions about our data. Where's our data, right? The data stays with you folks. We're looking at metadata, right? If you ever have to pull an investigation off, yes, we can pull a little bit of data. It's stored up in Snowflake and secure. It can stay in your region where you guys are located. Right? So you guys don't have to worry about that stuff. So that technology, we've been using it and building it. It's been $45 million on that platform. We are the ones running that AI. It's all our stuff. We don't outsource any of that stuff. It's all us. We have team members and sounds crazy. Scientists, all these folks. I met some of them and I was like, you don't look like a scientist to me. But when he was doing the stuff with the AI, I was like, whew. But these are some of the folks that you don't put in front of other people. Because they can't talk to other people. You ever talk to them, they don't know what to say. But if you ask them, show me what you're doing here, they'll blow you away. It's amazing what they do. So we're grooming that every day. Plus, the true team is building new machine learning models every day because machine learning is part of AI, right? So they're seeing the new threats and they're reverse engineering everything we do. Every investigation that we do, if there's a 0 day, they put it in our sandbox, they blow it up. They learn everything they can about it at that point because it may change. So we put all that information back in the platform so we can block it from that point on, and then they'll keep watching what's going on. It's a nonstop 24/7, 365 job. They're doing that stuff every single day. Threat hunting, threat sweeps for all of our customers every day to just make sure.
Do you train the AI use the data from the customer? Or,
no, we don't. It's from the incidents. It's from the incidents that we have, and it's not customer data that we're training the AI on, right? So, like for example. And this is what I know, and I can't do it enough justice, so just take it from what I'm telling you. I saw these guys watch how a threat was happening and the process of what was going on in that endpoint, for example, and the network traffic that it was communicating with from a command and control server out there. So it took that information and what the process it was doing, what was happening, it was training what to learn on and what to block, and that's how they were doing that stuff. But there was no customer information there. And the customer data, like for example, if you had CrowdStrike, or we're managing that for you, and you lived here in Texas, right? That data stays wherever the CrowdStrike portal is. That's where it's going to be, right? Their platform. We're pulling that into our platform, the metadata and the security signals, not like all the other stuff, right? So it's just that
from the process thread.
Correct. Yeah, see, I should have just said that. That was great. Process threads of what's going on, right? Yep, yeah. That's what they're doing every day. It's cool stuff. I could, but these folks, we have team members, that's all they're doing. They have a big team. It's all they do. It's changing every day. Our platform is killer. It's really honestly one of the best that I've ever seen in the industry, right? It's not using the SIM. We get questions all the time. Is it like using a managed SIM that you can sell to a customer and say, here, take our piece of our platform? No, it's not a SIM. We're not looking at log. It's real security data coming from the signals that we're ingesting every day. You have a question? Oh, I think you had a question. Yeah. So here's what our SOC dashboards look like. This is demo data. I have no access to real customer data. So they give us this, and I can do this live. So they give us this access, they give us data that they dump in here for us so I can show you what happens. So a SOC analyst gets an alert, right? And it's a little small on the screen, and I do apologize about that. So what they'll do is they will actually say, hey, you know what? Here's something, for example, for CrowdStrike or one of these signals, they'll say it's open, they'll click on it, they'll start taking action. When we first get that alert, right, we do not know who the customer is. The customer can have 10,000 seats or 5 seats. There is never a customer that takes precedence over another. When they click on that alert, then they have to say, okay, now I know who this customer is and what policies and procedures we have in place with them. So they'll click on that alert and they'll start taking action. So first of all, we're gathering all this data. This happens to be with CrowdStrike. Now our platform, like I mentioned, that AI and those machine learning models, we've built our own custom APIs that we connect to our customers' CrowdStrike environment or Microsoft or Sumo Logic, whatever it is, right? We pull that data. So the data that comes and you can see in CrowdStrike, we can see it here as well. So our SOC analysts can see that. Within minutes, we're pulling that data into our platform. So this happens to be a CrowdStrike endpoint issue. And here you'll see some options coming up. So this might be something that we need to investigate if it gets to this point, right? If it's not automatically blocked, if it's not a false positive, it's something, hey, our team needs to look at and make sure. So here, right away, the customer, the SOC analyst knows the customer, knows who gets emailed, who gets called. So for example, we isolate a host for you. You say, well, after you do that for me, give me 10 minutes to respond to you. I'll send you an email back or whatever. If you don't do that in that 10-minute time or 8 minutes or 5 minutes, we're going to call you. Hey, look, this is what we did. You got to be aware of what's going on, right? You have to be. So we have all that information. The customer success managers, right, always make sure that this data is probably up to date. So they're like, I couldn't tell you how many times people leave an organization and we're going to send an email to the person who's gone. Somebody has to change that, right? So the customer success manager is part of their roles. Hey, how's everybody doing? What's going on? Blah, 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 right? So we're going to make sure that everybody's on top of that. That data stays fresh. So here, the SOC analyst now pivots over to the process of what's going on in the endpoint. Same data I would see in CrowdStrike, but we can see it here in our portal. Now, one of our competitors, and I'm not going to mention any names, they say, well, we support CrowdStrike and Microsoft and SentinelOne too, but they're pulling logs. They're not pulling the raw security signals, right? So they can't manage it. Our SOC analysts right here, if they needed to, they can pivot into the customer's CrowdStrike portal if we had to. We have the ability to do that. We have rights to get in there and do that. And we can take action for them there as well. But we can see it here. So the SOC analyst is going to say, okay, I know something's going on. So they're going to start filling and checking these boxes. Yeah, right? Yeah, yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Is that entered in by the analyst or is that entered in by the AI? Noticing where it says.
Yep.
What type of,
Yep. It's
so is that on the side or is that the AI?
That's the AI and the human side. So we're pulling this in. So I'm going to show you how that works. That's a great question. So yes, it is pulling in from the AI saying, hey, I think I kind of know what's going on here because I've seen something like this. So it gives us a description. It maps it to the MITRE ATT&CK framework, right? Here's what it could be or what's going on, but let's still investigate it because we're not 100% sure. Maybe it's a 0-day. We don't know. So it is pulling that in and filling that stuff in. That's correct. So now the SOC analyst is going to go through these processes. So here, like I mentioned, we can pivot over. This just shows you if we had Microsoft or all the different services. But the customer has CrowdStrike, we can click on it there, goes right single sign on to their portal, like I mentioned. Plus, we have our own threat intelligence, right? We subscribe to over 42. We have 8 of our own threat intelligence that all you folks would get, part of our service, right? So we look at all that data. Now, the cool thing, and this is what I was mentioning before, if this is, for example, an incident with CrowdStrike, our AI and our machine learning models, all the stuff that they built, it takes that threat and looks at Microsoft Sentinel maybe, or or Sumo Logic or Carbon Black. It says, hey, what do you guys think about this? How are you guys seeing this threat? Right? So it correlates that stuff between all the different platforms that we support. It's not just saying, hey, we're going to listen to CrowdStrike and say they know what they're talking about. Let's see how other people think about it as well, just to be safe, right? Maybe it's not something that's malicious. Maybe Microsoft takes it a little bit further, right? I don't know. Let's build it through. So that's what our platform is doing. So now the SOC analyst is going to say, okay, I'm going to start going through these pieces, checking these things off. Maybe it's malware, maybe it's ransomware, whatever it may be. And I'm looking at all those different hack vectors, usernames, protocols, host names, and I'm going through here. Here you'll see over here in a minute, the different components where they can fill in some of these pieces. They can say it's an asset or a user. We can lock an identity. They can check a box right there. Say, hey, you know what? Isolate that host for me. All right. AMP nomination, I can say, hey, I found bad malicious IP addresses, block that stuff for me, right? I can then notify, it'll go back in a minute, it plays again like a little video. You'll see in there something that says Atlas rule. Atlas is the name of our platform. So we can actually say, hey, True Team members, this might be something we've never seen before. We have to notify them, so they'll come over here and take a look at this. So there's a checkbox there that they'll get emailed right here, create the Atlas rule, say, hey, folks, take a look at this for me because I don't know what it is. So they get notified right away and they can start reverse engineering what the heck we're doing over here and what we're learning, right? Because the SOC analyst should just take an action for you. We need the next step. So that's what we're doing. The customer gets a nice alert, says, here's what we've done. And the outcome for the customer, again, is this Insight platform. Every ticket, every event that's open, the customer has access to. We were using ServiceNow, right? Yes, we use ServiceNow. So you guys, we can integrate with your ServiceNow or ConnectWise or something else. Every event has a ticket open. The customer has access to that ticket. They can see it as it's happening, as it's resolved, what the next steps are. There's full communication all the time. We want to make sure that our customers are part of, they're part of our team. We're not doing anything without their no, right? So that is what we're doing with AI. That is eSentire. Are there any questions that I can answer for anybody? Was that pretty straight, pretty clear? I want to make sure I don't, because I want to make sure it's like, everybody's good with that. Everybody knows what I'm saying. I want to make sure that there's nothing like, you know what, I didn't quite get that. It's okay. Because Steven didn't know anything when I first he had no clue. He still doesn't know a lot of times. I'm like, dude, come on.
Do you follow any compliance to build your, yeah?
Absolutely. Yep.
Which compliance are you guys?
Well, we have tons of different compliance. I know we follow different frameworks. We follow NIST, we follow the ISO frameworks. We watch HIPAA, we watch all those different other compliances, and it also depends on the customer's environment. So we can fill those gaps. We actually have a calculator that will say, here's what you need for this compliance. And the compliance changes all the time for the customer, right? So we're going to stay on top of those things. But yes, we do follow. I know there's some of the other compliance things. I know that there's HIPAA, there's all stuff. We fall under the EU where our SOC does. So we have to apply to all those things. Like we don't have a SOC in the United States, actually, in US. Now, there's rumor that we might eventually open up a SOC here, but some customers are like, we need to have a SOC here in the States, but we still fall under the EU. Now, a lot of countries fall under that EU. We're one of the only ones that don't, right? So we have all those different rules, and whenever you have all those different laws, there's always gaps in the middle. Every state has their own one now too. Everybody's jumping on all those things, right? With the data, the EU is super strict. Super strict what we've got to follow for that stuff. So that's why I said your data stays with you. We're looking at the metadata. And if we ever have to pull an incident, for example, like blocking, really it's just network traffic. Right? If we block network traffic or there's something we need to investigate with the authorities, we're going to keep a little snippet of that. We'll store that for a year.
John, we had another question.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we have this presentation.
No. This is my presentation. You're no longer going to be built. Of course we can do this. Absolutely.
Make sure you get
Yes, absolutely we can.
How do you vet or background check all your employees who have access to this?
Great question. We get background checks all the time. We have to do them all the time as well.
It's not easy to get hired here.
We do them there's 2 organizations that we work with. Steven, what's the name of that organization? Do you remember? I can find out for you. I don't remember off the top of my head.
For example, some of the things that we have to take care of
Yep.
are the police.
Yep.
databases?
Yep. Oh, absolutely.
So that's an FBI background.
Absolutely, yes. We do stuff, I don't remember who does the background checks. I know the FBI is involved, but I don't remember the company that runs those background checks. So we go through background checks every yes, third party. Oh, third party. So I have to do a background check every year. Our SOC analysts every 3 to 6 months, they do it. They're really strict on it. And being an employee at eSentire, like I said, I've been there 6 years. I can't even walk into the SOC without an escort. I'm not allowed. I can't, like I showed you, the SOC dashboard, that's all demo data. It's not real. I have no access to customer data. Yeah, that's important. That's a great question. Yeah, they take it very seriously. And the cool thing with our SOC is, like I said, they don't sit on a board all the time. They rotate. So they'll sit with the true team and watch an investigation going on and learn how to build those models and stuff. They don't burn out, but they go through rigorous training and certifications they have to do and the background checks all the time. Yeah, 3 to 6 months. They say it's kind of a pain, but now they're used to it. So got to be done though, because we see a lot of data. Yeah.
In Europe.
So I saw the log you mentioned earlier.
Yes.
You guys ingest logs from like our devices or how does that?
Great question. So we support Sumo Logic or Microsoft as the underlying log platform. So depending on what you're logging, yes, we can do that. Now, the cool thing with our log platform is that we have proprietary runbooks. So for example, if you have Microsoft 365 and we're logging that for you, and you say, hey, I don't want PowerShell being run, we have an alert that will trigger. So the SOC can say, hey, guess what? These guys are trying to run PowerShell. So it's not just logging it, no one's looking at it. We have proprietary runbooks for that stuff.
I was more concerned with like devices like firewalls or switches. Or
Yes, if you want us to log some of that stuff, we can log that data for you too. Now, the thing is this.
My next question was going to be, do you ever have trouble parsing settlements? The difference?
No, we don't. I mean, there are different logs and stuff, but the platforms do it for us. Parse all that data and normalize all that so we can see it. So the runbooks, it's funny that you say that because we brought on Microsoft about a year and a half, 2 years ago with the Sentinel, and we have over 500 runbooks for Sumo Logic because that's what we started with. We're converting some of those now to use in Microsoft, and it's a whole different process. There's different formats, different everything that you're seeing. So yes, but no, we don't have a problem with the logs that we're getting. I mean, a lot of the stuff from the logs are just text files, right? And a lot of those logs don't even tell you anything. So our team will go through and say, you know what, if we can't threat hunt with that log and it doesn't give us anything, is it really worth it? We want to look at the security stuff. Now, if the guy over here said before with compliance, we can actually still log it for compliance too if you need it, but it doesn't need to go to the SOC. So it's a lower cost for the customer. Yep.
So the question is, rather than services that y'all provide,
Yeah.
for the client can have access to that. Do y'all provide some type of VPN service to tunnel in to actually get that, or is it open?
For our SOC analysts?
No, for the client, like we'll end up getting the service.
Yeah.
And once they end up seeing the data, is there a VPN access, once they actually see it, or are we just able to go to the website
Yep.
and actually do a login?
Yeah, no, great question. So a few things. So for example, if you had CrowdStrike and we're managing your CrowdStrike, you still have access to the CrowdStrike stuff, right? You can get in there anytime you want. Our data, right? And you're going to log into this portal. Yes, you can log in. Now you have to authenticate and there could be multi-factor authentication, all that stuff happening, but there's no VPN, right? But we have access to the portal. We get your IP addresses and your names and those things. Not that they can't be spoofed, I get it, but it's restricted to that way. God bless you. So it is restricted that way, right? So nobody in your organization just can't go there. You have to have an account. You have to have the multi-factor authentication set up. Yeah. Yes.
Regarding the integration with the other tools, whenever you've got, like, say, a 0-day situation, you've got an event that comes in and your AI is going out talking to the other tools. What's the timeline of that? How long does it take to get information back to actually make a difference?
Honestly, and it's funny that you say that. I asked that same question. It's like, so how long does it take for that signal to go into our platform for us to see it and take action? So a lot of the stuff, if it's something that we've kind of seen before and we know it's malicious, it's blocked, right? When it's not, like the 0-day, it's seconds. It's coming through there and correlate that, like milliseconds.
I mean, how long does it take for these guys to come back? I'm curious about the relationships that you've got with the other tools.
Oh, you mean
comes
like
in CrowdStrike,
Yep.
and you go to Microsoft, and you go to Sumo.
Oh yeah, no, that's all done in the platform. The
Yeah.
platform is looking at it.
How long does it take?
Oh, within seconds. They're going through everything. Say, here's the threat. What is this here for Microsoft? We have all the models built, run books. We build them. They're new ones all the time. So it's looking at those different platforms that we support. Sumo Logic, Microsoft, Tenable. dark web information, because we have a dark web service. So all the dark web shit we're learning, put it back in there. Let's make sure that we can block that stuff and see what that is. That's what it's doing.
Well, I find it very interesting that the industry is comparing notes like that. That's great. What if Microsoft or somebody finds out information that would help you? Do they push a notification to you then, hey,
Yeah.
checked on this yesterday. We just, you know.
Yes.
Update.
Yes, they do. So this is the difference. So a lot of those folks like CrowdStrike and Microsoft, they have closed XDR platforms. They only care about what they can see.
Right.
Right? So ours is open. We want to see everything that we can. So yes, we have good relationship with those folks. Microsoft. Yeah, some folks though, I'm not going to say names, they don't want us to see certain things. They will not share that information with us. You're right. There are some that don't. We pull a lot of their information from that agent or from their security threat intelligence that we subscribe to. Yes, that's where we get a lot of that stuff.
I don't mean to be right. I'm asking.
No, you're right.
Curious.
But that's how we do it.
Okay.
100%. Yeah, it's not, there are some folks though, like you said, that we partner with, they don't want us to share. They give us so much and they don't give us more. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah. No worries. Any other questions?
I have another platform question.
Yes.
So since we're a manufacturer, we have some older systems that are
Yes.
not, up to date. They still use the systems. Some of them can touch the internet, but on
Yep.
high restriction. But does your agent deploy to older systems, older platforms? Is it cross-platform like Linux, Macintosh?
Yes, we support Mac, Windows, Linux. Now, the agent that you're talking about, it would depend on one of those agents at CrowdStrike or Microsoft or SentinelOne or whatever. Do they support that? Now, I can tell you this. I have seen CrowdStrike and some other agents run on those older. We have an OT environment. They're running Windows XP. Those agents run, right? But there's no updates from Microsoft anymore. They don't support it. But it still gives us what we need to do to make sure if there's a problem. Now, even now, that being said, in an OT environment, you can't just isolate that host.
Right.
You might affect everything in the OT environment and break stuff down. I mean, we had stuff that we were doing that this OT environment was controlling machines. And if you shut that off, it would actually blow up, right? Because it manages how hot things would get inside there. So it's critical. What you really got to do now is secure the outside of that OT environment. It has to be tight. Now, there are some tools out there you can get for OT, but you still got to be careful what you're responding to. You can't just shut those things off. So how do you block it? Block it before it gets into that environment. You can restrict the internet, like you're saying, and lock it down, but don't think threat actors aren't looking for that. You got to block that perimeter. It has to be locked down tight as much as possible. Yeah. Yeah, but as long as those other agents support it, we can see data from there and we can take action. But see, that's the thing, like Microsoft, and for example, if it was CrowdStrike or SentinelOne, they don't support that endpoint. Not that you can't install it on that. They won't support you. Yeah. Any other questions? Everybody's ready for lunch in the